our inquiry into Russia was a wide-ranging inquiry. It wasn't just about elections or subversion of the democratic process, but was about the threat that Russia poses to the United Kingdom and its closest partners, and whether we had appropriate measures in place to counter it. Now, I very much regret that this report wasn't published before the election, because there was, in my view, absolutely no valid reason for that not happening. Indeed, we'd worked very hard, and everybody knew we wanted to get it out before the election. I wasn't sure whether the election would be now or in January, but I thought there was likely to be an election, and we worked to get it out, and we got the classification cleared, so that we had worked with the intelligence agencies and the National Security Secretariat to ensure that it could be published, and they were completely satisfied. So the sign-off from the Prime Minister, I would normally have expected to be an issue of routine, which would, generally speaking, take place in 10 days. And if there was a problem, I would expect to have heard directly from the Prime Minister as to what the problem was. He's never indicated what it was. A whole series of explanations have been offered since, most of which, I'm afraid, don't stack up. And some of them are utterly bogus.
Does he have something to hide?
I have no idea why he's decided not to publish it, and in a way I can't comment beyond that, because that places me at risk of revealing what the content of the report might be.
Oh, you can tell us.
No, I can't tell you. This committee doesn't leak, and if the report is classified, it remains classified. Now, it's possible, some people are talking about legal challenges. It's been suggested that the report might still be brought out by the government if they change their mind, although it is ultimately our report and not the government's. And that's the other problem. Even when there's a new parliament in December, in the past, it's taken 4, 5, nearly 6 months to set this committee up again. So I'm afraid I think that we may not see this report for a long time. Indeed, I worry, seeing that it may be a completely new committee, that we might never see it at all. And I cannot think of a good reason why, having passed the test of working with the agencies and the National Security Secretariat to make it in publishable form, it should not now be laid before Parliament and published.
I mean, my concern would be in that as a member of Joe Public who's voting, if, as is allegedly the case in the referendum, there was a lot of Russian interference with a lot of bot farms or whatever doing their thing, that has materially influenced the result of the election, I would feel that is a case where, quite frankly, something that should have been in the public domain hasn't been allowed to be in the public domain, and I would feel somehow that we should have redress, and the only redress we seem to do. No, ministers don't seem to be able to be held to account for what could be seen as reckless or negligent actions, and I find that quite difficult, I have to say.
I find it difficult as well. And I want to emphasise this is a cross-party committee that does not act in a partisan fashion. I might add there are also ex-Leavers and ex-Remainers on that committee. It doesn't have an agenda. The agenda is to try to provide information to the public. And as part of the report did touch on the subversion of democratic processes, there was information in this report that I think would be of interest to the public to have a better understanding of what the nature of Russia's threat is. And of course, in the process, that doesn't mean to say that some things that people might be very worried about, reports of this kind are both designed to dispel anxiety if people's anxieties are exaggerated, and also to highlight areas that we should be concerned about if people haven't focused on them. And this is why I can't go any further into this report, much as I would like to.
Do you welcome Hillary Clinton's intervention, or is that another foreign leader trying to interfere in our election?
I think I did welcome it, because what struck me about it was that there's a country, the United States, which has a very big security apparatus, which was highlighting a point that they were surprised that in a country like the UK, which is a parliamentary democracy, and where also we have to guard our secrets, but nevertheless try to ensure enough transparency to inform the public, we were proving ourselves incapable of publishing a report of this kind. The United States and its Senate are pretty robust about this, because they know that accountability to their Senate and their House of Representatives is very important.